अगर आपने सोच लिया कि आईएएस बनना है तो फिर बनना है. So can you all say yes with me? Yes! Now it's a time to welcome a superstar. Are you excited to meet? There is a person called Anand Vardhan, who is the highest topper, stood 7th this time. Let's welcome Anand. Please come.
Okay, so first of all, I'd like to thank Alok sir for introducing me like a superstar, but trust me, it's just my day actually, and that's all this is. And all of us here are preparing, and it's my honor to be among you guys and to see that so many of you have turned up. So first of all, thank you to all of you for coming. And so I just want to talk about my journey a little bit in the beginning, and then we can go about the specific aspects of my preparation. So I am a mechanical engineering graduate from Delhi College of Engineering. I passed out in 2013, and since then I have taken 4 attempts. This is my 4th attempt at the UPSC, and before this I have not cleared the main list at all. And so I have cleared the prelims each time, and first 2 attempts I gave mains. The 3rd attempt I reached the interview, and this attempt I have gotten rank 7. So of course it's a dream come true for me. It's very unbelievable, but I'll just like to share about the journey and what I think went wrong initially and how I corrected it. So I think the first thing that went wrong for me was public administration. So for my first 3 attempts I had ProBAD as an optional, and this time I switched to Pol Science. So again, this is not to blame ProBAD as an optional, but rather I would like to say that my approach to that optional was not very perfect. I had no guidance onto that, and I just delved into it and prepared it on my own. I wrote no test series for public administration, and hence I never scored more than 206 marks in my 3 attempts, and that always pulled me down in the overall list. So in my 4th attempt, everyone was advising me against changing the optional, since I had already taken 3 attempts with public administration. But I knew that I had invested a lot of time and energy into it and given it everything. So I took a rational decision, and I changed my optional to political science, even though there was very little time to prepare for it, because I was taking the 2016 attempt anyway, and but again that turned out well in the end, because I got good marks. This time I got 302 in political science, and I got good marks in GS also. I carried that forward from my last attempt. I think last attempt I had 382 in GS, and this time I have 470. So that's a huge improvement. I think a lot of people have gotten more marks in GS anyway this year. You must have seen the cutoffs. It's already 100 marks higher this time. So that is there. But so apart from that, the other error that I did probably in my preparation was I did not take any sort of guidance in the first 2 attempts. I probably was a little arrogant. I thought that I could go ahead and prepare it on my own, which is again it's not entirely untrue that you cannot prepare on your own. You can, but of course there is some sort of guidance everyone needs, and support everyone needs from your seniors or the people who have cleared it there. So one of the prime reasons for me coming here is to share the 4 years of filtered wisdom that I have, so that all of you guys don't have to go through 4 years to reach here. And so these are the parts of the filtered wisdom that I'll be sharing with you, what I've learned through my 4 attempts and where I went wrong. So never isolate yourself. So this preparation, this exam is all about connections. It's all about networking. Connections in your answer, connections in your peer group, because the people you stay with, the people who are preparing with you, they are very important. And if you lock yourself up in a room and don't see what others are doing, I think that's detrimental, because you don't come to know behind closed walls what are the trends and what are the kinds of questions which are being asked, or what is expected of you. So I think a lot of you, how many of you here are engineers? So that's in the top 20 this time. We had a meet, and I think 10 to 12 people were engineers there. So why I want to say this is because as an engineering student, when we have the placement process. So when in the engineering colleges we have the placement processes, and there is a company on campus. So at the end of the day, I mean, a lot of people appear for the process, but at the end of the day, probably 2 or 3 or 5 or 6 students get selected for that particular company. So that does not mean that the rest of the people are not eligible. It only means that they fit the criteria that the company had set on that particular day. So fitting the requirements of whatever exam you're taking is very important. And I think I failed at that in the initial attempt. So one thing was I was not aware of the trends. I was not aware of what's going on. And the second thing I think is being able to assimilate things and organize things in a good manner. So for example, if you're planning to take regular tests and regular test series, so ultimately this realization dawned upon me that this exam, you can study as many books as you want, but ultimately you will be judged based on the answer you write. So answer writing has to be the topmost priority, because that is the only thing that you have to show the people who are checking your notebooks who you are. I mean, that's the only thing that they have, and that's the only thing that sets you apart. And just to give you an example, if you score on an average 1 mark more in each question in GS, you get 80 marks more than the rest, and that's enough to get into the top 100 or the top 10. So, that one extra mark, you have to work for it. You have to work on your speed, on your handwriting, on your accuracy, and basically on the structure of your answer. I'll come to that later when I talk to you about the various stages of the exam and how to proceed with that. So this is a bit about my journey, and in my interview, of course, I'll share with you the interview experience the first time around, when last time I went to the interview. So actually I was very nervous. It was the first interview, and it's a very imposing setup. I'm sure a few of you would already have been there or might have heard experiences of people who have been there. So there are 5 people staring at you and expecting you to answer nicely, and they're asking you questions. So it's a very you go there and you feel you'll be confident, but you're very nervous, you're very scared. So that happened to me in my first attempt in the interview. But I would like to say that the only thing that you need to manage in the interview is your calmness. So the questions there are very generic. The questions there are asked to test your personality and not your knowledge. So even if you're not able to answer a few questions, but you can keep calm and you can appear like an individual who is balanced and who can take a balanced view of things and stay calm in tough situations, that is pretty much all they're looking for. So I had a bit of improvements in marks in my this attempt. I think I scored 168. So that's not a lot, but last time I had scored 138. So again, that improvement was because I had learned from that process. So learning from the process is also very important. I'm not saying that all of you have to take multiple attempts to understand what is going on. So for that, the interaction with people who have been there and who have cleared it before is very important. So now I'll just talk about the stage-wise preparation. So how I did it, and what is my opinion about the various stages of the exam. So about the prelims exam, one common question that everyone asks is how many questions should we attempt in the first place? Because now the cutoffs are scoring each year. I think 116 was the cutoff for 2016. So to share with you my experience, I have never attempted more than 77 questions in prelims in my 4 attempts, and I've cleared each time. So the point is that there are always, in my opinion, 20 to 25 questions which no one will have an idea about. So you can safely skip them, but you can focus on the questions you know and take some sort of risk, not a lot of risk. Because what happened with me in the mocks is when I attempted 80 questions, I probably got 15 wrong, but when I attempted 90, that number climbed to 22, 23. So which was not a great score then. So basically, when you're taking your mocks, everyone has a certain way of attempting questions and a certain accuracy about them. So probably 70% is the average accuracy. If you attempt 10 questions, maybe you'll get 7 right if you're very well prepared. So have a knowledge of that through your mocks. Attempt as many papers for prelims as possible, because ultimately again it is about solving the questions and not reading the books. So no matter how well you are prepared, if you do not attempt mocks, you'll always have a problem crossing the borderline. Apart from that, I think now for the last couple of years I've seen this trend that there are booklets in the market which summarize a lot of the stuff that we have. For example, science and tech, there is a booklet, environment is a booklet, the current affairs are there, culture is there. So all of these are very useful in my opinion, because they save you the hard work of looking through the entire year's worth of news and give you a consolidated view of things. So if you can revise that and try to retain as much as possible, because ultimately each mark in prelims matters and there's no subjectivity there, it's very objective, and if you get it right, you get it right, otherwise you don't. So, and obviously prelims is just the first stage of it, and about the mains again, like I talked about the answer writing part, I think that is the prime thing that one must be aware of, that unless you write answers, unless you are able to get into that mode where you have to attempt 20 good questions in 3 hours, you will never sort of make an impact in the mains. And in the first mains I missed by 40 marks. In my second mains I missed it by 20 marks. In my third mains I cleared it by 25 marks, and in my fourth attempt I cleared it by I think 100 marks. So it's been an incremental process, and why I am saying this is because you need to learn from your mistakes. I do not believe that the exam is random or gives you random results. So if you're planning to improve, and if you're willing to work on what went wrong last time, you'll definitely improve with each attempt, because that has been the case with me and a lot of my other friends who are preparing. So answer writing again is slightly complex, because all of the people who are appearing in mains, all those 15,000 people who are appearing in mains, they have a very good knowledge base, they have a lot of confidence, some of them are already in the services, and they are very well aware about how to approach answer writing. So I think that the two things which primarily I focused on answer writing, or I improved over time, is number one, the length of the answers. So again, with the fixed space answer sheet now, we know that this is all the space that is available to us. But I think that making maximum use of the space, of course that differs from person to person depending on your handwriting, and some people are writing very big, so they can write less content into the same space. But I would say that try to fit in more content in the same space, because at the end of the day, for example, if you are asked about skill development, everyone knows about it, everyone knows what to write, and how will you stand out, how will you gain that one extra mark unless there is more content in your answer, unless there is your body part of the answer, or your conclusion part has something extra basically. So apart from that, I think the structure of the answer is very important. So every answer that you write, it must be structured into an intro, body, conclusion. It's a very simple structure on paper, but it's very difficult to follow. Trust me, in that time constraint of 3 hours, and because for some questions you might not have an idea about what to write. So for example, in this year's mains, most of you would have seen the papers. So there was a question on McBride Commission of the UNESCO. So have all of you seen that question? I think it was in GS2. So I didn't attempt it, because I knew that probably I can write about UNESCO, couple of lines, but that's it, and it's a 12.5 marker question, and I have no idea about what is being asked. So it makes absolutely no sense to attempt a question where you have no idea about. Yes, of course you'll always not know the exact answer, so you can sort of sometimes beat around the bush and talk about the lateral things rather than what is being asked. And that is a very important aspect because the examiner is looking into the answer about exactly what is being asked. So unless you are addressing that, it becomes a very ordinary answer. It becomes an answer all of those 15,000 people have written. So for that you need to, I think for the content, of course, it comes with your preparation and following newspapers and interconnecting things. That is the third thing about answer writing which I would like to share. So a very simple example which I would like to quote is, for example, if you are writing about Skill India. So what you need to write there, of course, in the intro part, you talk about the scheme or you talk about the demographic dividend and then how it can help India grow or economic development. But ultimately, you need to take a macro view of things. So this time around, I think in GS1, there was a question on South China Sea, which was very unexpected. I mean, that's not a GS1 question, right? But that just goes on to show you that there are no fixed silos, there are no fixed compartments into which all of your syllabus is organized. Yes, there is an indicative list of topics, but you have to take a macro view of things. You have to understand that South China Sea is as much geography as much as it is GS2 or politics or IR. So just to continue with my example, skill development, when you're talking about, probably you take a macro view. You talk about how Skill India's output can be an input to Make in India and can be assisted by Digital India or investments coming from abroad or liberalization of the FDI policy or amending the labor laws. So all of it is interconnected, right? So the government is always moving towards a certain aim, and that is a fixed aim, and that direction is aided by all of these things. So I think once you are able to include such things in your answer where you're not only talking about the immediate thing, but the things around it and the things that it can lead to. So that will make your answer shine, because the examiner would again know that you've not merely studied or not merely know about Skill India, but you've integrated it into you, and you understand the implications, you understand how it will affect the macro view of things. So of course it's not always possible to have such an opinion, but maybe if 20 questions are there, probably even if in 10 questions you're doing you're following this, it's going to fetch you great marks. So that is what is about the mains. Of course we'll take questions at the end, so any other questions you might have, we can come to that. And about the interview stage, I would say that again, like I already shared, it's a test of personality and not of knowledge. So being in the interview room, your prime challenge will be to manage your nerves, because it will be one of the biggest days of your life. Being there is, it feels nice. You feel privileged that you are into the UPSC taking an interview with esteemed board members, because not everyone gets that opportunity in the first place. So your prime challenge is to manage your nerves. And once you are able to do that, trust me, all of you who have prepared, who have cleared mains, who have reached the interview stage, all of you have that knowledge to be in the top 10 or be in the top 100 or clear the interview easily. But the only place where people go wrong is nerves, actually. And because they make it's a big day, yes, but they make it bigger than it really is, and sort of get nervous in the process. So an interview preparation, obviously you need to, apart from your own profile, you need to be very well aware of the events that are happening around you, because most of the times they ask you questions which are sort of analytical, and you cannot just give a very straightforward answer and say that I have not thought about it. So saying no to such an answer is also detrimental, because if they are asking you an analytical question, you are expected to think about it and answer. So of course another challenge there in mains, probably you can write a lot of things and nothing is coming back. No one is asking you why you wrote this particular thing. But in the interviewer is right in front of you. So you cannot just say things. You have to defend things. You have to make him understand why you are taking a particular stand. So please be very careful about the words you utter in the interview, because all of it comes back and right at your face and might make you nervous. Because a lot of the times rhetorical answers, rhetorical sentences which we all know come out, and then when we are asked the meaning of that, we are probably not able to answer. So in my whole journey, I would say that I have not been directly associated with Unique Shiksha, but I have had friends who have studied here, and I am aware about the teaching methodology that these people have, and I think that sort of addresses a lot of things which I talked about in the beginning. So like in my initial 2 attempts, the guidance was lacking, the interaction was lacking. So I think here you guys have that team of people who are already in the services to assist you, and see, that's a great privilege, because the people who have been there, like I said, they have the filtered wisdom of the ages. They know what is needed to clear the exam, and ultimately you need to fit the requirement of the exam. So at each stage the requirement is slightly different, it's slightly dynamic. So you have to take all of that in your stride and understand what is happening. Apart from that, since the syllabus is so huge, I think that planning becomes an important aspect. So in my opinion, 1 year is needed to clear the exam in any case. So you need to plan out how you will study and how you will revise, how you will take tests. So I was having a discussion with Amrit sir recently, and we talked about how much we learn in school and how much we learn in college. So if you compare, probably you remember nothing from college, and you remember almost 70-80% what you learned in school. And the reason for that is very simple. Why you remember ABCD so well is because you've iterated it a million times, probably. So that's how it is. In the schools, the examination processes are more continuous. There is more time to study the same syllabus. There are teachers available to assist you, and I think that sort of changes in college. Once you go to college, there is absolutely no scrutiny over you. There is not much accountability. You might not attend class. There is just 1 semester exam, so probably you will just study before the exam. So there is no continuous learning. There is no assimilation of what you are learning or application of it, which is lacking. So the planning and the continuous test taking again is very important, which I think the people at Unique Shiksha are doing, and that can assist your preparation in more ways than you can imagine, because ultimately I think clearing this exam is also a matter of how well you plan, organize things, how well you handle the pressure, because a lot of opportunity costs are associated with this exam. Because I was working for the initial 2 years, I was working with a private firm in Gurgaon. So, but after that I quit my job, and for 1 year I was just preparing. So, this exam not only has emotional costs, it has economic, opportunity costs, social costs. You probably lose your friends along the way, you're not able to stay in touch with them or your relatives. So, try to make the process as quick as possible. Try to take as many inputs as you can from those who are around you, and from those who you have access to, who have cleared the exam. And I think that's one of the prime reasons that I'm here, because I want to open a channel to all of you and tell you that any sort of queries that you might have, and whatever I can address with my limited knowledge and my experience of the exam, I can help you with that. So apart from that, I would simply say that I think I'm a very ordinary person, and my preparation journey has been long. I've been lazy, I've wasted time, and I've done everything that you guys do. And ultimately, if I can clear it, any of you can. Any of you sitting here is capable of getting rank 1, or rank 7 or whatever rank it is that you dream of, or whatever service that you dream of getting into. And with that, I would like to pass on to Arun sir. And thank you so much for listening so patiently, and we'll take questions after Arun sir. Thank you.
Are you all excited? Was it enlightening session? Any question you have, please ask question. Yes, stand up.
How differently did you prepare for the 4 years for GS? Did you change your study material or what?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, because in GS1, in my first attempt, I got 42 marks, and this time I have 119, I think. So, yeah, I think with a lot of the GS syllabus that we have, I was not able to cover it in my first attempt. Especially GS1 was very intimidating to me all the time, because geography is not my best part, and culture, I think all of us hate. So that was never my favorite. But I think I didn't change my study material. If you ask me what I read for culture, I would still say Nitin Singhania or NCERT class 11. And for geography, again NCERT or GC Lyon. So the sources remain the same. I think the practice which I did in subsequent attempts, taking mocks or writing answers, so that helped, because the material is pretty much the same. And for GS2 and 3, I would say that please focus on current affairs, because at least 10 to 12 questions out of 20 are from current affairs, and if you don't have a grip on those topics, you're not going to be able to write a good answer. And you know, they ask all of the issues directly. You know, every issue is a question, and you need to be able to organize your thoughts and interconnect and analyze what is happening. So I think that the couple of things that I changed for GS was my answer writing, and the sources remained more or less the same.
Any more question? Yeah, please stand up.
Sir, how did you manage your current affairs over these 4 years? Because it is very dynamic, and generally people say that you must know the current affairs of last 1 year from the date you are appearing. That's all.
Yes, so again, it's a very personal domain of how you sort of make notes. I think I strongly believe that you should not just read the newspaper. Because even if you know you clear at in one attempt, and 1 year's worth of newspaper, you're not going to be able to go back to or revise. So you got to make notes, and whatever format it is, whether you know you like pen and paper, or you like a Word document, or you like Evernote, whatever it is that you do, but please make notes. I was not very continuous with it. I tried my best, but probably I was able to make it for 2 months, and then a couple of months I was not able to make it, but then again I went back to it. So it was a little off and on, and since I prepared for 4 years, I had quite a collection of current affairs and books that I could go back to. And you know, the sources, most of us, I know, we refer to booklets, monthly booklets which have the current affairs. So maybe just stick to any one and supplement it with your newspaper reading, and make a concrete summary of everything, and have it all in one place. Probably you know, the more organized people, I've seen them do it, like they segregate the GS2 and GS3 parts and put the topics accordingly. So of course you got to manage everything with the standard sources. So I would not say that for current affairs there is any greater source than the newspaper, or probably the monthly supplements that you are referring to. So managing current affairs, of course, you have to, even in films, I think last year at least 50 to 60 questions were from current affairs. So if you're not reading that, you're not going to be able to stay alive in the competition. So yes.
Yes, please give us. All right. Your turn will come.
First of all, congratulations sir. And sir, मेरा क्वेश्चन है आपसे कि आपने ट्यूशन कब स्टार्ट किया? और मैंने इंजीनियरिंग किया और मेरी प्लेसमेंट हो गई एचपी में, बेंगलोर जा रहा हूँ मैं अगस्त में. तो हाउ विल लाइक आई मैनेज टू नो वीकेंड्स में मेरे को कैसे प्रिपरेशन करना चाहिए सर इसके लिए?
देखिए, बस आपका पर्सनल डिसीजन है सबसे पहले, वेदर यू वांट टू ज्वाइन योर जॉब और नॉट. And I would not say that it is not possible with the job. I was not able to do it, but there are people who have been able to do it.
That's why I asked you, sir. You create a job and then you start preparing for you.
So, see, there will always be decisions involved in your preparation. You know, there are times when you will have to take tough calls and like changing your option or quitting your job or whatever it may be. But I would say that just sort of assess yourself, just know where you are, and knowing where you are on the map is one of the first things towards success. Because if you feel that your preparation is 40% complete and being in the job, you can manage at least 4 hours a day or the rest 60% of it, I think you can go ahead with the job. But again, every individual's variables and context is different, and you are the best person to take that decision. Trust me, there is no protocol, there is no set pattern that people who have left their jobs will clear the exam. So please don't worry about that. Just focus on your preparation. And thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hello. I know that newspaper reading is important, but all day we just end up with reading newspaper and making notes. So how do I optimize the time? Like, or shall I read monthly magazines and read newspaper all month, full month, and I read the monthly magazine at the end of the month? So, or is it preferable that I make notes every day? That is very, time consuming. How do I limit the time?
Okay. So again, I'll share with you the filtered wisdom of the ages. If you're reading the newspaper and if you feel that it's affecting the rest of your preparation, please read the editorial and make notes of it. Read those 5 articles which are there in the Hindu and read them over a period of 6 months and you'll know everything. Because every issue that is important in any manner, sooner or later will appear in the editorial. And even if you're following 2 newspapers and following even one for that matter, and if you're able to make notes from those things, because when I was in office, when I was working, so all I was able to do is read those 5 articles and make notes of it or whatever. I used to put that in a Word document. That was my way of doing it, and then I used to take a printout of that and read that. Just please understand that the very small details will not be asked. So if there is a question in GS2, for example, you may be asked about health, but you might not be asked about a particular health program or its implications. That is less likely. So you will be asked about the overall environment of health or the situation of health and how to improve that. So for that, all of your knowledge that you have learned will come in handy, and whatever you read in the newspaper about universal health care or affordable health care or whatever it is that you have learned, or some new bill that has come up which you can include in your answer. So that's enough. So if you feel, of course you should go through probably the international page and the editorial, but if you feel it's consuming a lot of time, just stick to the editorial. Yes.
Start at the grassroots.
Standard operating procedure, SOP. Okay, nice to hear that.
Okay. So standard operating procedure protocol, like I said, no, there isn't any. And everyone's preparation is different, but since I think you'll be taking your first attempt this time in 18 or this year you'll be taking your first attempt. So I would say that, for example, you should take it step by step. If you're preparing for prelims for the first time, I think the one thing to do is to go back and look at what sort of questions have been asked and understand the requirement again about what are the subjects which are more likely to be asked. For example, environment invariably has 30 to 35 questions every year in prelims. So if you're not covering environment, you're going to be in trouble, right? So please understand. And Lakshmikant, for example, it's for polity. Last year there were no questions, hardly any questions. But if you are able to revise that again and again, mug it up properly, and so for the prelims perspective, that's enough. And even for the mains perspective, to quote articles or schedules, that's the perfect thing you can do. So just stick to the standard sources. Everyone knows what they are. They are available to everyone, and just sort of focus on revising for the prelims. When the first time you're taking it, you might not have that big a knowledge base, but whatever you have, just optimize it. If you're taking, let's say, your second attempt, please read what you have made note for the first attempt, because that's your leverage. Don't treat it like a liability. please treat it like a leverage, because all of that preparation is still in your head somewhere, and if you revise it, if you go back to it, it's going to take you less effort to understand the same thing. So again, from individual to individual it differs, but all you need to do is stick to standard sources. There's nothing special that you need to do. Just do the basics right and you're going to be fine. Yes.
Sir, how can choose optional subject? You said, you said PubAd to, Pol Science.
So I'm not the best person to answer that, because I took PubAd because I was working initially and I thought कि syllabus छोटा है तो job के साथ manage हो जाएगा, but that sort of sent me into a vicious cycle of 3 years, which I was not able to clear the exam. So I think be very careful again while choosing your optional. Like I said, take advice from your seniors or people who have cleared, and please understand your interest. Please understand that this is an internally driven thing. No one is going to tell you that you like Pol Science. You know if you like it or not, right? So of course there are variables like overlap with GS. A lot of people suggest that you should choose something that will help you in GS preparation. But I also think that if you take an optional which not a lot of people have, again you are at an advantage, because let's say 4,000 people are writing with public administration, it becomes a little more difficult to stand out from those 4,000 people. But also do not choose an optional for which there is no material available or no guidance available. So again, just align your interests, and the requirement of the exam is to clear the exam. So I think all of these optionals like sociology or political science or psychology, all of them have the same potential, because I met the top 10 recently, and they had all sorts of optionals. So there's no set pattern that a particular optional will perform. If someone tells you that, please don't believe them, because every optional has the capacity to do well.
Sir, I have.
Yes.
Sir, when should you start preparing for optional? After prelims or before or?
So I think that it's a very integrated preparation. So when you start, please don't think that I'm preparing for prelims. Of course, there are certain things. For example, world history is not there in prelims, but it is in mains. But that is where the differentiation ends. Because if you are preparing for this exam, you're preparing for everything. You're not preparing. Your objective is not to clear the prelims. Your objective is to get into the service. So please understand that, make it an integrated prep, and do not wait till the prelims probably, or till the prelims result to start your preparation for your optional. Because optionals are, again, you're expected to be a specialist at it. You can, be a generalist in GS, but if you're not specialist in your optional, you'll not be able to score well. So please, start as soon as possible.
Sir, how did you handle you told that for 2 years you were in a private firm in Gurgaon. So after that you quit that job. So was there some drag from your parents, or क्यों quit किया?
So yes, there is always that. Yes. Right. So I think that's a good question, and a very practical one, because
you handle peer pressure.
Right. So the point is that it will always be there. There will always be people who will tell you what you're doing is not right. But trust me, all of us here, sitting here, have brilliant minds, and we are great adults who handle life well. I mean, the very fact that you're sitting here preparing for this exam, tells a lot about you. That you have chosen to forego a lot of the things which people our age want or like or go for, and you're sitting here preparing for this exam. So all of us are adults, and as long as you know what you're doing, please do it. Because at the end of the day, it's better not to regret that you might have quit, and probably, if like you said, I had quit for that time and then नहीं होता अगर तो क्या था, ठीक है, thinking about a backup is not bad, and I would have gone back to some sort of employment, maybe on the same package or a lesser package or whatever it is. Yeah. So again, as a bureaucrat also you have to be convincing, right? So even for your parents, whatever it is, I know again for each individual that context is different and that environment is different, and what sort of variables that are available to you are different. But within the resources you have, within the framework that you have, you need to do your best, because maybe you are not in Delhi, maybe there are a lot of things that could not have been right with you, right? But you are here, you have your parents' support, and just optimize whatever you have. So even if probably they do not agree with your decision, try to convince them. If they are not, then you got to do your job and prepare along with that. So whatever it is, just fit into that. Just accept it, work towards it, and you will be fine. So, yes.
Hello? Yeah. Assuming that I intend to prepare dedicatedly from next November, and till next November I intend to give half an hour to UPSC every day. So what should I, aim to complete in that half an hour every day?
Okay, so that's a very unique question, first of all. But I would say that if you're starting preparation and if you're planning to start serious preparation from next November, probably you should go to the NCRTs. Number one, that half an hour of yours should go from reading the very basics and probably picking up the newspaper, getting used to it, understanding what articles are important, and slowly along this time maybe take a look at the pattern of the exam, the questions, and what is being asked. Again, understanding the requirement. That should be the mantra. And yeah, please.
Why are you starting in November? I think that is a more pertinent question.
Because I'm doing something else right now.
But is there something more important than what you want to achieve in your final goal?
It will be important.
Well, I think,
It's a stepping stone.
see, it is a competitive exam, and you're going to be competing with everyone in this room and everyone else in the country who's preparing. And they may have already been a little ahead of you. And I think, as Anand rightly said, it is not about clearing prelims, it's about getting selected. So I think those are, the choices that one has to make, and keep all the permutations and combinations in mind while you're making them.
So do I give more than half an hour now? Or
Well, I don't think any of us are going to be Manrega Mazdoors that we're going to get paid by the hour. That is my sole answer whenever somebody talks about hours. Am I right? Yeah. So I think it is more about the quality that we're going to be putting in, and the entire focus should be on that. And I love asking this question, but I'm not going to ask it today, but I'll just give a gist of it. A lot of you may have started reading the Hindu. Those of you who have not really started preparing, you may have started reading the Hindu, and when I ask you to raise your hands, there will be probably a lot of you that raise your hands. But when I ask you to keep your hands up, if you have read the syllabus, a lot of your hands will go down. So I think there's a big gap between quality and quantity, and I think this example probably will help you understand that better. I'll give it back to Anand.
Last four questions. So can you just bring your mic? Okay. All right. You need to have a fair distribution there. People are here. All right.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello, sir. First of all, congratulations from my behalf and from the behalf of Delhi College of Engineering.
Thank you. Okay.
Sir, I am going to be in the last year. So, should it the right time to start?
You are planning to appear next year.
Yes, sir.
This is the right time to start. You should go back from this seminar and start, because because yes, 1 year of dedicated prep, like I said, is necessary, and the sooner you start, the greater edge you have. So you're from DC?
Yes, sir.
What batch?
Sir, 2K14.
2014.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Meet me after the seminar.
Right, sir.
Thank you.
So next year, 1 minute. I want you to be here. Anand will be not here next year. So you should be here between the both of us. All right? That's the commitment between you and me. Okay, done. Yeah.
Hi, Anand sir.
I had two questions actually. Because of the lack of time, I'll probably be quick. First of all, you were told about the answer writing piece. But exactly can we sort of know what kind of answers are appropriate to be written in the exam, in the mains exam? Like there should be a structure in the mind so that at least when we start processing the information, there should be a structure in our mind already. So where can we get that information? My second question is that whether do you know anybody who has taken like a commerce as their optional subject and has cleared the
Yes,
exam?
I know somebody who got a rank 93 last time, so she can help you, I think.
Gandharva.
Yes. Okay, so to answer your first question, कहाँ से देखना है? How to know what is the best thing? Right from the horse's mouth. The toppers answer booklets, right? That if you are able to get that, if you have somebody you know, and I think online also a lot of answer sheets are available. So उन्हीं से पूछो जिनका हुआ है, right? Again, sorry. Yes. Yeah. So this time I didn't write any GS test series, but for 15 I wrote it. I'm not sure the answers were that good, but I'll share it with sir, and he can share it with all of you. And online, yes, they are available. If you do a bit of research, you get it. I'm not sure about that. We'll have to.
May I know how was your approach towards the ethics paper and what would you suggest for us regarding the ethics?
Well, ethics paper has always been very kind to me. So I have always gotten good marks, and I have not read any book for that. So these are the two things I would say. But how you approach ethics is basically it is about being frugal. It is about not being plastic. So if you are writing a case study, for example, all of us know what needs to be written. All of us know कि right course of action क्या है इनमें से. अगर 4 दिए होते हैं तो it's very clear that this is the right course of action. So now you go ahead and try explaining it and everything, but again connect, interlink. उसमें if there is a case study which relates to women's safety, quote the National Commission for Women or some other body, or fix responsibility. This should be done. And yes, more questions, sir?
All right, we will have 3 more questions now. Yes.
Is that interview the most toughest part of this exam?
Where are you? Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Is that interview the most toughest part of this exam?
Oh no, it's the easiest one actually. So, and the toughest part is prelims according to me, because that's very dicey, and on any given day, you might have a bad day. So, but the interview, of course, by that time you already have a good base of knowledge. So, don't worry about the interview at all. Just stay calm.
How many more questions? Hello, sir. Just a minute. I've decided 3 last questions. I'll make it 5. Last 5.
Last 5.
Here's the last 5. No more 5 beyond this. So keep account, sir. Please keep account of the.
So this question is not related to the syllabus or how to prepare for the examination or something like that. I just want to ask you whether are you going to ban that jeans and t-shirts in your department also?
Sorry, I didn't.
Are you going to ban jeans and t-shirts in your department when you will be joining? There was a case in that DOV banned jeans and t-shirts. So just want to know your opinion about that, because this is a very practical or something like that.
Yes.
So your opinion, sir. Thank you.
No, I would not. And since I'm here, I stay in Gurgaon. I don't have my clothes here, so that's why you're seeing me like this. But yes, you're right. I should be wearing formals. Thanks.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
I am Vikrant. I am from IIT Delhi, second year mechanical. And
Okay.
I just want to ask that how should I prepare for my UPSC 2020 exam? Should I go for second year, start my preparation from now only, or should I prepare for my own for 2 years and then for the fourth year I should go for full preparation?
I would say the optimum time, the right time to prepare is probably somewhere in your 3rd year. I think when you're there at the beginning of your 3rd year, because then you have a comfortable window of 2 years to prepare, and then you can probably take the attempt when you're passing out. So by that time you'll have sufficient time to prepare. So I think 3rd year is when you should start.
Just having said that, this also means that second year is also appropriate. You have heard that Khargosh and Katwe wali kahani. So slow and steady wins the race. So you can keep reading the newspaper, NCERT books, and polish yourself. All right.
Hello, sir. I'm in first year English honors. I want to start my preparation from now, but how to start and where to start from?
You are in your first year?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like I said, the starting point of PEP should be NCERTs. You should go to the basic books which are there, probably standard 6th to 10th, the geography, history. These things try to get a grip on them and try to get used to reading the newspaper and explore the syllabus, look at the questions, understand what is being asked and prepare accordingly.
Thank you, sir.
There's somebody highly interested on that side, yes. Can you stand also? So that we can see you very clearly. Yes. Yeah, please ask.
I'd like to ask that you told that you took 4 years to prepare. So after every attempt, like in first attempt or second attempt, even when you were prepared in the third attempt, how did you start from the scratch? It would be a bit disheartening that this attempt.
Oh, it's very disheartening, trust me.
So I would just like to.
Yes, so I think that's a very relevant question, and I would say that managing disappointment is also a part of this exam. Apart from the patience it asks of you, and every time I was disappointed, obviously, every time I was not happy. But again, what option do you have if you want to clear the exam? So last year when I took the interview and I had to take prelims in August, when I picked up Lakshmikant, I thought yaar ye kab tak dekhni padegi pata nahi, and I had read it probably 4 times and then 5th time I was picking it up, but I did it anyway because that was my job that time.
Sir, for history students, do you know anyone, because I would like to know the history books that are suggested for mains.
I can't think of anyone right now, but yeah, maybe you should connect with the teachers to understand who's that. Thanks. Yeah. Sorry?
Lakshmikant book that relevant.
Yeah, I mean, according to I read it and it's very relevant and it's very specific to the requirement of the exam. So,
last 2 questions.
Congratulations, sir. First, sir, actually my question is that during means, so generally some people used to suggest that go for 2 to 3 newspapers like Indian Express, then Economics Times, like. So is it real? I'm just asking because we have already process.
So please don't go for overkill. Like I said, बहुत specific questions नहीं पूछे जाते हैं. The questions are a little more general than you would think. And if you are referring to any sort of current affair supplements or materials that, for example, you get at Unique Shiksha, all of them have already summarized everything for you. So please do not do double work. Please optimize your preparation. ऐसा नहीं है कि अगर आपने न्यूज़पेपर नहीं पढ़ा 1 महीने और supplements पढ़ लिया तो it will affect your preparation badly. That will not happen. But try remaining regular and supplement with whatever material you have. I think note making is required if you're reading the newspaper. I think personally, I think it's important that you make notes.
हेलो सर, जैसे हिंदू न्यूज़पेपर हम पढ़ते हैं तो उसमें बहुत सारे पेजेस होते हैं.
Can you take my
तो सर बेस्ट तरीका कौन सा कैसे है कि मतलब पढ़ने
का? Like I answered a similar question before. अगर आपको बहुत टाइम लग रहा है, if you feel that it is affecting the rest of your preparation, please read the editorial and keep reading that. So optimize your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Please pass on here. Blue shirt. Yeah, this is the last question. All right. And don't worry, we will talk something very precise.
Qualitative. Make it very qualitative so everybody's question can be answered to that.
Yeah.
Lot of pressure on you.
I will take half of the praise. First of all, congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
And all this talk has been very generalistic input. I want to have a specific input from you regarding your strategy and books you have studied for your political science option. So all the political option candidates can have.
Okay, so for Pol Science, since I started in July, I joined Shubhra Ranjan ma'am. I also wrote the test series for that. And my prime sources were her notes. I tried, because I had very little time, so I tried to internalize the notes itself, and I refer to Andrew Haywood for Global Politics. And so I think that's the only book I was able to read in that very short span of time. But I again focused on reading good answers and toppers' answers which were there, which were whatever I could access. So that's it pretty much.
All right, this is the last question. All right. I'm giving you benefit of curiosity. You have not heard this word. All right, go ahead. Yes.
I've heard, and what if they ask me a question like, why do you want to be an IAS officer? And I practically think that I want to be an IAS officer for my career, and even there is something like I'll do for the society. But that will look very childish, like if I say I want to serve the nation and all. So what do you think? What should I answer?
I'll tell you a secret. No matter what you say, it'll appear childish because the people who are sitting there, they're very experienced and they've heard all of your answers. Whatever you're gonna say, they've heard all of them, right? So, and this YIS question is the trickiest one in the interview because I think you should make the answer more about you. Related to your profile or some sort of event that pushed you towards it, or probably a family member who's been in the government services. So make it about you, so that it appears more, real probably.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so can we have a big round of applause? And Anand, it was really wonderful. Wonderful time with you. And one of the things which should register on all of you, he said that since he has qualified in the exam, each one of you sitting over here can qualify. And it is a fact. Each one of you sitting over here can qualify. The purpose should be clear, dedication should be clear. So, thank you, Anand.
So, something, I'm quite the spur of the moment kind of a person. And I see two people over here who I really want to be able to help in their dreams to be successful. And sir, could you please ask them their names? Yes, both of them. So, what's your name?
What's your name? Poojan Tripathi.
And your name? आपका नाम क्या है? अशोक सिंह राजपूत.
अशोक सिंह राजपूत, yes, वही बोल रहे हैं.
So both of you want to prepare for IAS? आपको भी तैयारी करनी है? So both of you will get free education from our side. Yes. So Anand, thank you so much. Congratulations again.